We are back with another daily reflection on the Daily Vedantic. And if you clicked on this video, good news for you, I'm wearing my multicolored jacket that I wear every once in a while. There are a lot of colors on this thing. You can get lost in the colors on this thing, so feel free to project on a big screen. And for those listening that aren't tuning in on YouTube, good news for you, I got a little bit of a cold, and I'll be honest, it makes my voice sound real deep, real sultry. So that's my gift to the audio listeners. This idea of beauty is a funny one in our culture because, there's this phrase that we use of just, you're beautiful just the way you are. The philosophy of Bruno Mars. In fact, you're beautiful just the way you are. And that is a crock of shit. We are not beautiful just the way we are. We might be loved just the way we are. And we are absolutely, through this philosophy and in every philosophical lighthouse in history, will speak to an identification with another just the way they are, not needing to change them, not needing to judge them. But the idea that they are beautiful just the way they are. And in some way in our culture, there's this implication that you're perfect just the way you are. And that is nothing like what the lighthouses of philosophy and religion have said throughout history. Socrates said it well when he said, what a shame it is for a man to grow to the end of his life, never having to experience the capacity of the human body. I'd go further, and Vedanta would go further to say that what a shame it would be to get to the end of our lives never having seen the capacity of ourselves, the capability within ourselves, what we are capable of. And our culture is constantly feeding us these saccharine, high-calorie messages with no nutritious value that you're good just the way you are. If you believe it, well, that responsibility is on you of never experiencing what you are capable of. You can be loved the way you are. You can love others the way they are. That is love. Adding conditions to it is attachment, not love. But when it comes to your development, the idea that you are perfect just the way you are is antithetical to this philosophy. From the absolute sense, this philosophy presents us with phenomenal news, great news, the best news you could ever hear, and that is who you are truly, deep down, is the divine, is the vast, is the infinite, is the supreme. Who you are deep down, not this character that you play with your family or in your work, career, life, not this character you think you are, but who you are deep down is the infinite and divine. That is what this philosophy has said for thousands of years. Tat tvam asi, that thou art. It is the most radical and, in terms of continuous study, the longest running philosophical concept we've come up with as humans. That thou art. You could use the word God, but that has so much baggage, so much anthropological personification. You're not some supreme male character 10,000 feet up in the sky with a long gray beard. That is not the concept of God within Vedanta, within the East. But that supreme, the infinite, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, the all-pervading reality that thou art, is what we're told with this philosophy. The bad news is you've forgotten that you're that. We all have, speaker included. We have all forgotten our natural state. That is the bad news. Between the best news and the bad news, there's also some good news. Each incremental step we take towards our natural state, towards that supreme. Each time we pitch up a higher ideal than just self-service, than some selfish desire, selfish motivation. I'm going to do this because I'm going to get that. When we pitch up a higher ideal, I'm going to do this so that you can get that. I'm going to do this so that they can get this, so that we can get that. When we pitch up a higher ideal, unselfish desire, desiring something beyond your own personal motives, desiring something for your community, desiring something going further, as we've chatted in previous episodes, the ever-increasing ring of identification, your family, your neighborhood. Then can you identify with your state, your region, your country? Can you go further and identify with all human beings? Go even further and identify with all living beings. This increasing ring of identification, that is pitching up to a higher and higher and higher ideal. Opening the door, saying after you. And doing that when you open a door, doing that when you create a company, doing that when you give birth to children, after you. That is that higher ideal, even in this relative plane. Without fully remembering who we are, by just pitching up to a higher ideal, the good news is that life becomes simpler, radically simpler. We become stronger. We actually become beautiful. And the world around us becomes more beautiful. Outer beauty is fleeting. We all know that. It's not beauty that persists, that grows, but inner beauty can persist and grow. Its strength, its peace, its understanding. And one of the most critical aspects of cultivating that beauty is seeing the work that we still need to do. The work that is still left for us to do to develop ourselves. And one of the cultural messages that destroys our ability to see that is this egocentric, narcissistic idea that we're beautiful just the way we are. If you leave it as lyrics on the radio that are meant to be playful, conveying that you are loved the way you are, that's fine. That checks all the philosophical boxes. But if we take it as, well, this is just who I am, and I'm perfect the way that I am. Those around me need to change, or those around me need to adjust and accept me for exactly who I am today, because I'm not going to change. That is absolute madness. And that's the beginning of a whole lot of hurt in our lives. So I'll end this with Socrates' idea. And you can apply this with every aspect of our inner work. What a shame it is for man to reach the end of his life, never having seen what he's capable of. That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening to the Daily Vedantic. This reflection is part of a free repeating 2-year course in Advaita Vedanta. Rooted in the timeless wisdom of the Upanishads, arguably the oldest philosophical texts on earth, you can begin with episode 1, which gives the 15-minute overview of the whole philosophy of Vedanta, or you can join the journey with any episode at any point. But the critical aspect of this course, of understanding and mastering anything, is to study and reflect, even for 10 to 15 minutes on the timeless each day, preferably at the start of your day. As is said in this philosophy, reflection is 100,000 times as powerful as listening. So listen, journal, sit with, discuss these concepts, or ask questions at thedailyvedantic.com with our AI-powered chatbot, informed by about 700 episodes here, as regularly as one can, if you want to see clarity and peace almost effortlessly unfold in your daily life. And if it doesn't result in a near immediate increase in clarity and peace, then toss aside and feel free to never listen again. One of the things that you might notice is after 7 or 8 days in a row, this doesn't feel like a discipline. This feels like a visit with a best friend to dive into the timeless with daily reflection. Within a few days, it becomes one of your favorite parts of the day. You can also find out more, including news about in-person events in Los Angeles and beyond, at the Daily Vedantic on Instagram, or through our weekly newsletter at thedailyvedantic.com. Additionally, check out the links in our show notes for more resources like the books that are mentioned most frequently in the episodes, including Vedanta Treatise, perhaps the simplest and most straightforward read on this philosophy I've ever come across. Until next time, and from the entire team that works on the Daily Vedantic project, thanks for listening.